Hey, thanks for tuning in. My name is Ash King. I'm a registered psychologist and I'm the in-house psychologist at Support Act, Australia's music industry charity. I'm pretty happy to be here today to do a quick wellbeing check-in with everyone tuning in. These are something that we offer with Support Act and basically just offers you a moment to check in with yourself, see how you're doing, and hopefully pick up a few little tips and tricks in regards to existing with stress every now and again. Sometimes existing on planet Earth can be a stressful thing. And I know that heading into fringe season can be a particularly stressful time. So today we're going to briefly talk about what stress is and how we respond to stress, the things that are helpful and the things that are not so helpful. And then we're going to finish off with a bit of a mindfulness exercise. So giving you the opportunity to just connect with what's here right now, maybe take a few deep breaths and see how you can maybe use some of those mindfulness strategies going forward, particularly when things get really hectic. So to kick off, we're going to do this very, very official psychometric assessment. On this CAT scale, how do you feel? It maybe seems like a bit of a silly question, but a lot of the time we don't usually check in with ourselves. And in fact, the only moments that we kind of do this are when we're feeling like everything is a bit much, right? We can really notice if we're feeling super anxious, super stressed, super overwhelmed. But we tend to not go from 0 to 100 immediately. And often it can be really, really empowering to start to develop a practice of reflecting on how we're feeling, sort of on a day-to-day basis, not as kind of a personal indulgence, but really as an exercise in getting to know ourselves a little bit better, right? Because we're kind of stuck with ourselves, at least through every conscious waking hour. And many of us aren't ever really taught how we can, I guess, form a more constructive and connective relationship with who we are and how we're feeling. So check out the CAT scale and see where you're at. You might be a combination of a few. I think I'm a bit of a 3 and a 5. So see where you're feeling, recognizing that, we'll visit ourselves in different moments across the day. We'll be feeling differently day by day, week by week. And when we're moving into certain seasons of our lives that might be anticipated, that might anticipate a little bit more stress, then it's natural that some of our feelings might be heightened. We might be feeling different types of sensations in our body, tightness in our bellies, a fluttering, in our chest, feeling sweaty and restless. Maybe the thoughts in our mind are buzzing around. It's difficult to maybe think about what we've got going on without feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit stressed, a little bit stretched and wondering, am I going to be able to get through it all? And those thoughts, again, tend to, turn up those physical sensations in our bodies. I think the best place to kick off here is asking ourselves, well, what exactly is stress? I think that when we hear the word stress, we can feel stressed because we all kind of know what it feels like to be stressed. And in Western culture in particular, stress is kind of a synonym for feeling overwhelmed, feeling overstretched, feeling anxious, and sometimes also a little bit of a way to, make us feel like we're busy and important. We kind of feel like maybe stress is something that we can wear as a badge of honor. Really, stress is an incredibly human part of existing. And it really is how our body responds to anything considered to be demanding, challenging, or a real or perceived threat. It's something that we've carried through our evolutionary history that's allowed the human race to thrive and prosper. It saves us from, getting eaten by hungry wolves. And allows us to assess certain situations, our aptitude for it, and how we might meet these challenges. So when our brains become aware of a stressor, and that is the thing that is indicating the challenge or the threat, our bodies release stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline to prepare our body to respond. Now, you might be familiar with this term, the fight or flight response. And this is something that kicks off the stress response cycle. So even though now we're pretty much not navigating, a life surrounded by potential hungry packs of wolves, we do have a lot of new and different stresses. And work often includes a lot of these for us. Things that go, do I have the resources? Do I have the support? Do I have the competence and endurance to move through this stressful period? And this can kick those stress responses into gear. And again, it can be particular situations such as work challenges, relationship challenges. It can also be sort of thoughts that are cycling through our minds that kick off this stress response. And when it comes to fight or flight, this kind of suggests that are these challenges things that we want to face and confront, which is the fight, or are they things that we want to escape and retreat from, which is that flight aspect? So the human body is wired to respond to stress, maybe in either of these ways. And slowly sort of throughout our lives, we learn some strategies, whether they are helpful or not. Well, that's what we're about to explore. But we work out some ways that we can deal with stress when it shows up in our lives. And this is a really, really useful question to ask. So if I was to ask you right now, how do you respond to stress? I care to wager that there's probably a few different ways that you do, because we all have reactions to stress. These are our go-to behaviors and strategies when we need to deal with these physical symptoms of stress, these cognitive symptoms of stress, these stressful situations that show up in our lives. So while we can deal with, the work that needs to get done, or confront the relationship that's feeling stressful at the moment, we also will have these sort of physiological symptoms of stress, that overwhelming feeling within our bodies, or those racing thoughts within our minds. And they are switched on when the stress response cycle kicks off. And we can respond to this cycle in kind of different sorts of ways. And some of these reactions are helpful, but some not so much. So if we're moving into a particularly stressful period in our life, there might be some strategies that we use, and it can be useful to reflect on what these strategies are, because some of them, have better bang for their buck. Some of them are going to help us feel more leveled and in control and calm and competent in the long run. And some of them are just going to help wear us down even more. So let's explore some of these strategies now. And I want you to think about which of these are quite relevant to you and the way that you respond or react to stress. So let's kick off with stress reactions that hurt. Now, these might be certain reactions that we've built out over time. Maybe other people have modeled them to us, like our caregivers, friends, co-workers. These can sometimes and quite often feel good in the moment, but in the long term, they impact our well-being and vitality. So what are some of these strategies? Well, over or under eating is one. Another is not sleeping. Getting grumpy and argumentative with partner, colleagues, kids, friends. This is a huge one, is foregoing self-care. Yeah, so we get stressed out and we suddenly, I can't go and do that gym workout. I don't have time to go and do that yoga class. No, I can't meet up with that friend. These things that help make us revitalize us and help fill our cups, we pull away from them. And that's really, really common. Hands up if that is anyone. Definitely me. Obsessive phone scrolling. It's easy. It's distracting. However, who tends to feel great after spending 3 hours going down a TikTok rabbit hole? I haven't met them yet. Drugs and alcohol. Again, feel quite serene in the moment. Not usually great though after the highs wear off. This one as well is quite common, shutting off from others and self-isolating. Online shopping sprees, anyone? Catastrophizing and thinking up worst case scenarios. So this stresses us out and kicks us into that stress cycle again, thereby making us feel more stressed and our bodies feel more stressed. procrastinating, that is like holding ourselves back from doing the stuff that we know that we need to be doing. And overworking. Yes, we can lose ourselves in the work. We say we have so much work to do. We just keep working. We just keep running on that treadmill. It's going to wear us out. Okay, so any of these types of reactions, it's completely natural that we would move towards them. Some of them do make us feel good in the moment. You know, some of them here seem natural when we've got so much weighing on us, maybe so much to do, this never-ending to-do list that we feel like, oh, well, I'm just going to skip that meal. I'm maybe going to spend half my night trying to get on top of my work. So we don't do these self-care things, sleeping, eating, moving our bodies, but we really pay the price, okay? Because that ends up getting us into this cycle where we then feel depleted and we're trying to, you know, kick all these goals and smash this to-do list with an empty cup, essentially. We can't really face the challenges we've got. We can't really manage our stress. We can't manage our life because we have no fuel. And this fuel comes in a variety of ways. And sometimes it comes in these different stress reactions that help, that are more supportive. Oh, I forgot the last one over on the hurt scale, which is people pleasing. Yes, we think if we make everyone else happy, then suddenly it'll be sweet. And yeah, that feels good when we can make everyone happy. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable because we can't make everyone happy. Okay, so what are stress reactions that help? Well, the first one I've got on my list here is meditation and mindfulness, and we're going to explore that a little bit later in this session. But other things like catching up with friends, you know, connecting to our social universe, things like spending time in nature, exercising, moving our bodies, journaling, just taking a moment to pause and reflect. Therapy can be really helpful. Things like scheduling and planning, giving yourself an opportunity to be creative, good and healthy sleep habits, breath work, drinking water and eating healthy foods, just walking, going out for a quick walk, talking it out, and reconnecting with our values. Now, when we work in creative industries, artistic industries, reconnecting with our values can be so important, especially in these stressful times, because we move in the art spaces because it's something that is important to us. It's important to exist in an artistic space, to be sharing artistic work with other people, with the community at large, because it's what makes life worth living. So a lot of these things, you know, can be really helpful strategies when we're trying to manage ourselves in stressful periods. I'd love for you to reflect on how many of these you tend to call upon when you're feeling stressed out. And your reactions are a little lopsided. So do you find that you tend to do more of the things on the hurt column than the help column? And maybe scroll down some of those reactions that help, that maybe you'd like to do more often, and they kind of, you know, you don't consider them in the moments, you know, maybe going for, you know, 5-10 minute walk. You know, you don't need to like commit to any of these things for like 5 hours. It's little moments here that you can punctuate, especially when you're feeling busy. Things like taking some deep breaths, literally like pausing for a moment, taking 5 deep breaths. It sounds like small, but really they can be incredibly helpful when we start to implement these practices over the long term. So right now, I'd love to take you through a little mindfulness exercise. Again, mindfulness is something that psychologists love to chat about because it's something that's accessible to us at all times. It doesn't cost anything. We can bring it up wherever we are, whenever we are, and it can be incredibly powerful to connect us with the present moment and our present moment experience. So right now, I'm just going to ask you to find somewhere where it's comfortable and quiet, that you have the opportunity to just sort of close your eyes and be present for a minute or two. Again, this is not going to be like a deep transcendent meditation or anything. All we're going to be doing is literally just taking some breaths together and checking in with ourselves right here and right now. So just shifting in your chair and hopefully finding a seat somewhere where your back is supported. You can just roll out any tension or tightness. If you can, pop your feet down flat on the floor. And if it feels right for you, you can close down the eyes or even just take a nice soft focus down towards your knees. Now, this might be the first time today that you've just connected with yourself and allowed yourself to come into the moment. Just feeling your sit bones press down on the seat beneath you. And maybe just taking some nice deep breaths in. Just in through the nose. Filling the chest. And then exhaling. If you'd like to connect a little deeper with the breath, feel free to maybe put one hand on your chest and another hand on your belly. And just see how it feels for the body to be full of breath and to let that breath out. So we love to connect to the breath in our mindfulness exercises because the breath is always accessible. And the amazing thing about breath is that it can also help us send some signals to the brain. When we start to get stressed out, we tend to breathe short and shallow. You know, like when you're needing to do a sprint, you've got to catch your breath quickly. But when we're calm, we tend to take slower and deeper breaths. And in fact, we can take these slow and deep breaths when we're feeling in those stressed out states. Just a signal to our mind, it's okay. I'm safe. I'm here. I've got this. And now I'd just like you to take a broader awareness. It's your whole body right now. Just what does it feel like to be you in this moment? Maybe you're noticing physical sensations, feelings on the top of your skin, maybe fabric pressing against your skin, the pressure of the chair, a cool breeze, maybe internal sensations, a grumbling tummy. You can taste the saliva in your mouth. And then also notice anything that's going on with your mind. You have lots of thoughts popping up, like, what am I going to make for dinner later? What are the things you've got coming up? Something that you did recently. These sensations and internal experiences are going on all the time. They have a huge impact on our mood, how we're feeling, the things that we're doing. And so this is why it can be great to just take a moment and check in. And now we're going to take two nice big deep breaths together. Breathing in and feeling the body, holding that breath at the top, and then exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more nice deep breath. Hold and exhale in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing your awareness back to your body now. Maybe shifting a little side to side on your chair and feeling those sit bones again, wriggling your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, opening up the eyes. So life can get hectic. And sometimes we think that we need to solve all these problems and sort out all these stressful situations before we can take our time to be okay with what's right here. And the truth of it is that we can always be okay with what's right here in our experience. Because for the most part, even though stress is challenging and feels hard inside our bodies, when we check in with ourselves, it gives us the awareness to understand, okay, this is me, this is my body stressed, or this is my body, experiencing anxiety. This is my body experiencing overwhelm. And whilst we might not be happy about it, we can still be okay with it. You know, we can still be okay with being present with these feelings, with these thoughts, with these sensations. So thanks for joining me for that brief exercise. You might be asking yourself now, okay, cool. Like, it's great to be mindful, but how do I do that when, you know, I'm not here sitting and watching this video? Well, the thing is that you can use this little strategy. I don't want you to take it with you. You can do it anytime. You can also just Google it. It's called the STOP strategy, or STOP mindfulness. You can Google it and keep it in your back pocket. But it's really, really helpful. It's just a step-by-step guide into how you might enlist mindfulness for the moment. And I like to think of it as stop in the name of calm. Okay, so when you're starting to notice maybe your body feeling some of these bigger sensations or emotions, and you're like, I really need to take a moment, I want you to think about allowing yourself to stop. Now, what does stop mean? Well, firstly, it literally just means stop. So stop what you're doing. Often we can start to notice these sensations. We're like, just push through. That's fine. And sometimes it is necessary. We do need to push through, but sometimes we just need to give ourselves this little pause. So stop is really just a moment for you to go, okay, I can just be with this sensation, be with this experience right now. You know, it might only take 30 seconds. So again, this is not like a huge time burner. You can even excuse yourself if you're somewhere busy, like go to the bathroom and you can do it there. So stop firstly, and then take a deep breath and let it out slowly. We all can do that, right? Okay, so the next one, O, is a little moment to observe. What you're going to do is observe your sensations, just like we did then in that guided process. What are we feeling inside our body? You know, are there sensations like, is there nausea? Is there tightness and tension, congestion? Is there sensations outside of our body? Yeah, feeling, you know, hot and sticky on our hands. Is there something feeling rough on our skin? Then how are we feeling emotionally? Do we associate a name with this type of emotion? Do we feel upset, overwhelmed, stressed out? Just observe that. Yeah, so try not to judge it and just be like, okay, I'm noticing that I'm experiencing some stress right now. I notice that I'm feeling pretty burnt out. The next one is really important. It's your intentions, yeah? So depending on what context you're in and what it is that you have to be doing, you want to understand, okay, well, what do I need? What do I need to be doing right now? What are my intentions for this? You know, do I need to finish this project? Do I need to help support this other person? Is my intention to go to sleep? Is my intention to, you know, go and take a walk outside? Understand what it is you need to be doing. And then with that understanding of your emotional well-being, your sensory experiences, and your intentions, you can proceed. And now you're proceeding with greater awareness. Okay, so it's a small and brief strategy. Again, it's mindfulness in action. And we can all use this as just a little buffer so that we're not reacting to those stressful situations in ways that we're not even thinking about, that we're like, oh God, I did that thing and I didn't even mean to, because this is us taking in what it is to be in our bodies, to feel our feelings, to feel stressed, to feel anxious, to feel overwhelmed, and going, okay, I'm aware of this. What do I need? And sometimes you might need some of those stress responses that help. You might need to take that walk. You might need to take a longer meditation. You might need to try and get enough hours sleep in the night. So everyone is going to have different access to these strategies. My recommendation is to find something that works for you. It might take a little bit of trial and error. I'd like to finish off this session by reminding you that you're all welcome to call the Support Act Wellbeing Helpline. If ever it is you feel like you just want to have a chat with someone about how it is that you're feeling, about how it is that you're coping. This helpline is open to everyone, and there's also specialized support for First Nations people, managers, sexual health and safety, and LGBTQIA issues too. So call this number anytime. You get 12 counselling sessions on this line. It's free, it's confidential, and it's available Australia-wide 24/7. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to push through. Sometimes having a conversation with someone experienced and also someone outside of your own social network can be really freeing, can be really empowering as well. So I'm going to leave this with you, sending you all the best of luck through your busy Fringe season. Again, my name is Ash King, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you here today. Stay mindful, stay connected with yourself, and keep taking care of each other.